Goalkeepers are the most important yet underrated position in the entirety of football. But even compared to the absolute goalkeeping legends of the game like Lev Yashin, Buffon, Casillas, Neuer, or Kahn, there's one goalkeeper who is easily the most unique I've ever seen. Because as a goalkeeper, scoring a goal isn't your main job, and in and of itself is already an incredibly rare feat. But would you believe me if I told you that somehow there was a single goalkeeper who shattered that perception completely and left his mark on the game like no other before him? Because as hard as it might be to believe, this goalkeeper scored over 100 goals throughout his career. Yes, you heard that right. As crazy as it sounds, I promise you it isn't clickbait, as this goalkeeper genuinely scored over 100 legitimate goals throughout his career. And his name was no other than Rogerio Ceni, iconically remembered as the goal-scoring goalkeeper. But as unique and insane as his story was, it kinda seems to be buried in the annals of football history, with very few knowing him or even remembering who he was. So let's look at the incredible story of the goalkeeper who scored over 100 goals, as I promise you've never seen a career quite like Rogerio Ceni's. Rogerio Ceni was born in January 22, 1973 in Pato Branco, a very small town in the state of Paraná, Brazil. He grew up in a family that absolutely loved football and was a child prodigy himself, quickly rising through the ranks of local youth leagues in the region. Ceni stood out because he was a very strange youngster. He was incredibly gifted at goal scoring and had a very mature composure, even in his early teens, and would actually play as a striker for most of his young life. But for whatever reason, he simply loved to play as a goalkeeper and defend the goal. And thus, the young Ceni would switch positions and never look back, because after a few years later, at the age of 14, he already had a reputation for being one of the most young and promising goalkeepers in the entire country. And Ceni had a very commanding presence in the box. He was known for his exceptional reflexes and ball handling skills. Heck, his dribbling and touch was even good enough for him to play as an attacking midfielder. But nonetheless, he wanted to handle the toughest position on the pitch, and he excelled incredibly at it. So much so that at the age of 16, Ceni would catch the attention of one of Brazil's most historic youth academies, Sao Paulo FC. And of course, goalkeeping isn't for everyone. It's an incredibly tough position to play, especially from a mental aspect. Goalkeepers can't be afraid to make mistakes or let any goals shake their confidence. But Rogerio Ceni is probably one of the most confident footballers who ever lived. Because unlike most goalkeepers, Rogerio Ceni defied reason. First off, he had an incredibly vocal presence on the pitch, always directing his defenders and organizing his team's defense. But where he really showed confidence was something you've never seen any goalkeeper do. Because during his youth days in a training match, as a penalty was called, much to the surprise of all his teammates and coaches, Ceni stepped up and demanded to take the shot. Like, imagine being a coach, and all of a sudden you see your team's goalkeeper walk all the way up to the opposition goalpost and claim the shot for himself. How shocked would you be? Because I'm willing to bet that Ceni's coach was at a loss for words. But Rogerio Ceni was not bluffing. He had the talent to back it up. The former striker turned goalkeeper would slowly build a reputation for himself as a very unconventional goalkeeper from this moment on. Ceni kept demanding to take more and more penalties, and nobody objected this at all. And that's because he was exceptionally good at it. Ceni always kept a calm and composed demeanor every time he went up for a penalty kick. And of course, when you play the most mentally tough position in the game, taking a penalty should be no problem. Ceni's penalty kicks were characterized by impeccable technique and placement. He had a very distinctive approach, often going for a short run-up before striking the ball with power and accuracy. His ability to place the ball precisely into the corners of the net often left opposition goalkeepers helpless. And the fact that he was so confident to leave his goal wide open, to walk over to the opposite side of the pitch, showing no signs of fear or hesitation at all, just made it even more intimidating for opposing goalkeepers. And of course, Ceni's experience at goal also provided him with a unique advantage when taking penalties. Over the years, he spent countless hours studying the tendencies and movements of opposing goalkeepers, always trying to exploit their weaknesses and anticipate their reactions, which ultimately increased his chances of scoring. I know a good amount of you guys are watching this and probably thinking of how risky it is for a keeper to walk over and take a penalty. Heck, you're also probably thinking, well, hey, he only scores penalties. That's not impressive at all. Well, what if I told you what's even riskier and several times even more impressive was of the 130 goals scored in Rogerio Ceni's career, 61 of them came from free kicks. That's right, 60. That's more free kick goals than Messi and Ronaldo, because Ceni is easily one of the greatest free kick takers of all time. His free kick ability was a masterclass in technical precision and artistic finesse, with a deep understanding of the mechanics involved and the innate sense of creativity. His free kicks were a good blend of calculation and flair. Ceni's footwork was also incredibly coordinated, and making sure the positioning of his foot, the angle of his body, and the precise alignment of his striking leg all match up to play a crucial role in generating both power and accuracy. And Ceni really knew how to control the ball even with using a lot of raw power. Like the other free kick greats, Ceni possessed a sound understanding of the ball's behavior between the spin, lift, and resistance, in which ways he would make contact with the ball. The guy would work tirelessly on his free kicks in training, as anytime it was the slightest bit near the box, he would walk across the pitch and try to go for goal. And the thing about Ceni was that he was equally good with both knuckleballs and curling the ball with an insane amount of spin and finesse. His understanding of the contact point was instrumental in dictating the ball's trajectory. When he strikes the lower portion of the ball, he puts a backspin that generates lift, allowing the ball to travel with stability through the air, creating a swerving effect that left defenders and goalkeepers confounded. Imagine a little bit of a mix between a knuckleball and a finesse free kick. You'll just really have to watch closely at how the ball flies to really see what I mean, because his free kicks had a fascinating ability of both curve and dip, which would so often trick the goalkeeper and resulted in a lot of free kick goals. But this phenomenon could be attributed to the Magnus effect, and Ceni could easily manipulate the angle and intensity of the spin, thus adding an extra layer of unpredictability to his strikes. Ceni's free kick abilities was also a result of his incredible intelligence of the game. He would analyze opposing teams' defensive structures, identifying weaknesses and openings, and would also strike it based on the opposition keeper's position and stance. This allowed him to select the perfect trajectory and placement to exploit these vulnerabilities, which would maximize the chances of his free kicks finding the back of the net. His free kick abilities were so good he was hailed by football greats around the world. The late great Pelé would praise Ceni's accuracy and describe his strikes as poetry in motion. Zinedine Zidane, the French maestro, marveled at Ceni's ability to make the ball dance and curve like no other goalkeeper. Even David Beckham, who was incredible at it with the 5th most free kick goals in history. And of course, Juninho Pernambucano, the footballer who a majority would agree was the greatest free kick taker of all time, acknowledged Ceni as a true master of the art. Indeed, one of, if not the most unique goalkeeper in football history. But he wasn't special just because of the goals he scored. He did a very good job defending the goal as well, known specifically for his shot blocking ability. Because when it came to acrobatic quick reaction saves, Ceni was one of the best. Sure, his positioning, handling, or diving wasn't that great, but Ceni could save goal-scoring opportunities that seemed almost impossible, even making you question just how he managed to do it. In fact, in 2007, if you look at the Ballon d'Or shortlist, the only goalkeepers to make it to the top 30 of that year's voting were Gianluigi Buffon, Petr Cech, Iker Casillas, and tied with him at 29 with 3 votes as well, Rogerio Ceni. And the man stayed with Sao Paulo FC his whole career, further elevating his legendary status in the Brazilian league. I mean, it's incredibly rare to see a player stay with one club their whole career, but to go 23 years with the same club is just insane, showing how valuable and loved he was by the club and its fans. With Sao Paulo, he would have 3 Brazilian league titles, 3 Brazilian Cups, 1 Brazilian Super Cup, 1 Copa Libertadores, 1 Intercontinental Cup, and 1 FIFA Club World Cup, alongside individually being named the 2005 Copa Libertadores Best Player, the 2005 FIFA Club World Cup Golden Ball, and lastly the 2007 and 2008 Brazilian Footballer of the Year. Rogerio Ceni was also able to lift the World Cup in 2002, being part of that legendary Brazilian squad. But however, he was never really the main goalkeeper, as Dida, another goalkeeping legend in his own right, was overall the better goalkeeper. But the fact that Ceni earned the respect and admiration of the guys on the squad like Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Roberto Carlos, and Cafu shows you just how unique of a player he was. I don't think there will ever be another goalkeeper with the same unique set of skills as Rogerio Ceni. And I certainly believe there won't ever be another goalkeeper to score 131 goals like Rogerio Ceni. Ceni did. Ceni defied convention and rewrote the history books, breaking the boundaries of his position and leaving an incredible mark on the beautiful game. And for that, he will forever remain a legend.